IVM.
The characters in Inception is actually what filmmakers are. So, for example, Leonardo DiCaprio, Dom Cobb is the director. Arthur, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is the producer. Ariadne, who is the architect of the dream, is the production designer. Ames, who is the other guy, is the actor. Sato, who gives them the contract, is the studio, and Fisher, in whose head they are planting the idea, is the audience.
Fuck.
Yes,
I mean, fish.
yes. Why is it so important to dream, Cobb? Because in a dream, we can podcast together. Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Hazard
It's a
Agent.
nightmare.
Wow.
You mean a nightmare? That's not a dream. That's a nightmare.
Wow.
That was a quote, actually, that was a modified quote from the 2010 film Inception. This is a very special episode we are doing discussing Christopher Nolan's Inception because, ladies and gentlemen, on Friday, July the 21st, the new Christopher Nolan film is about to hit theaters and it's called
Yo.
Oppenheimer. With me,
Fuck yes.
joining me are two hardcore Nolan fans. One of them is my co-host, so she has no option but to be a hardcore Nolan fan. And the other one is, of course, Shreyas Manohar. You've seen him on the IVM Podcast Network. He's been on How to Citizen and a host of other podcasts. But today, he's here in his capacity as a Nolan Bhakt, if I may say
Absolutely.
so, hardcore Nolan fan.
Yeah.
Ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen,
yeah.
writer, comedian, once upon a time optimistic palm reader. Please welcome.
Still happening.
Mr.
That's still happening. That's still
happening.
going on.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
still
yeah,
going
yeah.
on.
I can if both since both of you are true fans, I can read your palms and we can actually decode how much money the movie will make.
The movie will
So
make.
we can do
Okay.
that.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Shreyas, as a hardcore Nolan fan, how excited are you for Oppenheimer?
I'm very excited for Oppenheimer, and I think what's going to be the most interesting to watch is how there is a moral conundrum, a moral quandary
Right.
in the base of this. And like we have seen Nolan movies where we are in a fictional world, we are in a Batman, we are in a place
Right.
where we don't even know if it's real or if it's fake. While this movie is about something that is very, very real, that has impacted the way in ways that we can't even comprehend, of course.
Correct. Yeah.
Which is why, because of how complicated it is a little difficult to be like, yes, Oppenheimer. So you have to be like, yes, Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer.
Make us
Correct.
reflect and
Yes.
contemplate, but in like a thrilling way also. But
Right.
not in a way that's
Yeah.
fetishizing a tragedy, of course. Never.
Correct. So I have a take on that. We'll come to that. I think the great thing about discussing Nolan films is you can see so many common themes running along all of them, and which is why it makes me so much more excited to come to Oppenheimer. But let's start from Inception. Inception came out in 2010. This was the movie that I think everybody was like, okay, let's see if Nolan was a flash in the pan, or does he really have what it takes? Because it was coming right after Dark Knight. And Dark Knight was like one of the biggest films of that year in 2008. But
Yeah.
I want to ask both of you, Urjita and Shreyas. Urjita, let's start with you first. When did you learn about this guy called Christopher Nolan and the movies that he makes? Do you remember the first memory of watching a film of his, the first time reading his name, and you're like, oh my god, who's this guy?
So the first movie that I watched of Christopher Nolan's was Dark Knight Rises. And
Okay.
this was when I was very young and I had no concept of, this is what is called direction. Ye movies hoti hai. Movies mein pata tha. But like I
Yeah.
would just watch movies for the thrill of watching movies. And I remember like I had actually gone to the theaters to watch some other Bollywood film, which I can't recall right now for some reason. But वो नहीं थी और हम सब plan बना के गए थे and Dark Knight Rises was there. So we were like, fine,
Right.
let's watch this. And I remember getting blown. I was like, fuck, this is so good. My mind was blown. I really loved it even back then. When did this movie come out? Dark Knight Rises? What year?
2012.
2012. I was 14 years old. I
Okay.
remember वो time पे मैं इतने English movies नहीं देखती थी. Harry Potter was the only series that I would watch religiously. But Dark Knight Rises से मेरा दिमाग ही उड़ गया है because I remember मैंने Batman भी देखी थी but इतनी मुझे याद नहीं थी. But Dark Knight
Right.
Rises I can confidently say I've watched it at least 20 times since then.
Wow. Okay. Do you remember the first time
Uh,
you saw
Yeah.
Inception?
When I watched Inception for the first time, I remember that movie was also my introduction to the word Inception because I was so young.
Right. I think for most of us.
how many people do you think Nolan added to the Batman fandom? Like, whether how many people, like, do you think there were enough people not following Batman at all who didn't care about it after the movie got in?
So this was actually Batman was going through a bit of a lull because the first Batman movie that Nolan made was Batman Begins, which think came out in 2005. So
Right.
this is when the last two Batman films had been flops. Batman and Robin
Correct.
and Batman Forever were not very big
Right.
hits. So
Right.
Batman was pretty much in a state of limbo for about a decade, and
Hmm.
then Nolan came and made this pitch that
Hmm.
that I'm going to do it as an action film. I'm going to do it as a childhood trauma film, and they took a
Right.
chance. And Batman Begins was a hit, but it was more of a critical hit than a commercial hit.
Correct.
Then it exploded with Dark Knight, and I think I would say for many people, like especially the generation younger than us, Dark Knight was the introduction of people to Batman. And if you
Hmm.
see the all the future Batman films that have come after Dark Knight have just maintained that tone, the dark,
Right.
gritty, gothic
Yeah.
tone.
Yeah.
So I think that Nolan just वो ऐसा उसने stamp कर दिया है कि हाँ, now for the foreseeable future this is the tone that
Correct.
Batman is gonna follow. But Suresh, what
Right.
about you? When did you first learn of Christopher Nolan?
The first movie I watched was Memento. I think that was the first
Okay,
Nolan movie that I watched.
right,
I think there was like a senior in our bus who was talking about this film that keeps going back in time, and
right.
it changes the way you perceive empathy. He used different
Hmm.
Nagpuri words for that.
Hmm.
Those weren't his words, but uh, that really got me. That really got me into it, and then also after I think realizing that it's a copy of Gajni later. I think then I went back
Yeah,
to Memento again.
Memento was a copy of Ghazni. You're right.
Also,
Yeah,
Memento,
yeah.
that's
Memento was like
see, Nolan
Memento
has
watched
Nolan
Gulzarish. Memento.
good all copies. All Nolan has fucked with my idea of time. I don't know what came first, what came later. I have no idea at all who copied whom. That's why I carry this
Like,
totem just to remind myself
wow.
of
Okay.
how time is going. Looks like
this
it's
is
Hmm.
still
my
going back.
totem. Rag chips.
I don't have any. I have a pencil, guys. Can this be a good totem?
Yes.
I also remember watching Nolan's first shot. I don't know. It was on YouTube randomly
Correct.
one day after liking this movie. Is this 3 minute shot where it's this college student who is trying to catch a bug in his dorm room, and in the end
Hmm.
he sees that he is the bug.
Hmm.
So again, like a
Uh,
theme that I feel you keep seeing in the Nolan films, where you are the
right.
problem. All the problems
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
subconscious projections of your own mind. It's your own trauma
Correct.
that you are
Correct.
dealing
Yeah.
with.
Nolan went for a therapy session once and he was like, you know what? I can make so many movies from this basic idea. Childhood trauma, you are a problem. There's so many themes.
So Doodlebug, I think that short film was called that Shreyas is talking
Correct,
about,
correct, correct,
and
correct.
it starred the actor which then starred in his first film called Following, which I think was like a 1 hour film that he had made. And
Right.
Following had this thing where the central character's door had a Batman logo poster on it, and it was
Oh,
not meant as whatever, like Nolan said, it's not like
Oh
I was
man.
a huge Batman fan at that time. It was just one of those things we put a poster
correct.
there, and then he later
Right.
on went on to make Batman films.
Wow.
But Shreyas, talking about subconscious, do you remember Inception? When did you first see it? Because I remember there was a lot of
I
hype around this film as well, because it was coming right
Yeah,
after Dark Knight.
correct. No, I did. I did watch it. I actually went to watch Kya Super Cool Hai Hum, but again, my sense of time was fucked up, and Inception was there, so I was like, I guess I'll just watch this one. But no, I
Yeah.
remember really liking that
Maybe
movie,
you
and I
feel
also
super cool.
I did. I think that's why I liked Inception, because for a while it became the social currency. In my school bus, I don't know why I keep talking about the school bus. I don't know why everything is centered around the school bus.
No, but that's
But
a
I
great
think
point, Shreyas. I think Christopher Nolan started the whole conversation about movies online and offline. Like his movies became like a cultural point where you spoke about them with your friends after you saw them. कि तेरे को क्या
right,
लगा
but
इसमें
yeah,
क्या हुआ? तेरे को क्या लगा इसमें क्या हुआ? So
yeah.
yeah,
I
Hmm.
mean, he didn't start it, but yeah, I mean, I think
he
for
he
during our time,
popularized it. Yeah, for
he
our time. Yeah,
popularized.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for our times, for sure. And I also
Yeah.
think people
Because
like
I feel
all
like
the kids who thought they were smarter than everyone else would go around
Yeah,
being like, "Oh, you didn't get Inception." I was talking
yeah.
to my younger brother today, He was like, Inception, it's so easy, bro. Why is it so difficult? Why do people keep reading articles? It was basic as fuck. So it becomes like a thing where people who are dumb actually say that, oh, it was so easy to feel smart.
Okay.
I was trying to go down the rabbit hole of Inception, pun intended. वो कि इंसेप्शन का उसको आइडिया कैसे आया रहेगा कि ओ माय गॉड यू नो व्हेन यू आर इन अ ड्रीम यू नेवर नो दैट इट्स अ ड्रीम एंड व्हेन यू वेक अप you remember the dream but partly. So I was toying with that idea and I realized that ऐसे और कितने चीजें होते हैं हमारे actual world में जो अजीब है. Like for some reason, I don't know if you have experienced this, but एक तो deja vu तो I'm sure तुमने experience किया होगा.
Right.
That there's deja vu. Then I don't know what this is called. Please don't say that it is dementia, but sometimes you are in a discussion with someone. You're talking, you're in a conversation with someone, and you feel that you know you can actually see how the conversation is going to end. Like you can actually see the exact way in which is going to end. That maybe somebody is going to walk in, or maybe somebody is just going to, maybe they are going to say turn you down. And this, I'm not saying that it is like a prediction. It is more like a, I know how this is going to end like, and you still keep going. So ऐसे काफी मतलब अजीब चीजें होती है हमारी लाइफ में जो which you can't really explain. So I am trying to think कि फिर उनके ऊपर कैसे कैसे, like how can you make a movie on that? Like what is the story behind those things?
Correct.
And also,
first of all, Urjita, I think you have magical powers. So that's great. Congratulations on that. Yeah, sorry, continue.
And also the coincidence सबसे अजीब coincidences जो होते हैं कि अभी right now कोई जरूरत नहीं थी इस इंसान की तुम्हारी लाइफ में आने की, and then 5 years later boom you're married to them, you have kids with them. मैं coincidence की
that
बात
escalated a little quickly. But I think what you're trying to get at is that Nolan has this obsession with finding a connection or a reasoning behind things like coincidences, memory, dreams, all of that. Yeah, you're right.
I absolutely agree with Urjita. Like he taps into these things that are mysterious to everyone universally. Correct. Like no one has the answers. All philosophers, all filmmakers have tried to go into these things, and it's things that still mystify us, despite like us talking about these things for years, which is why it's just one more reason.
Again, that's a great point that I want to connect to Oppenheimer a little later, but we'll take a quick break. Before we go into a break, once again, Universal Pictures brings you Oppenheimer, which opens July 21st. Please go out and watch it. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll discuss a little more about Inception and our expectations from Oppenheimer. We'll see you right after this.
Hi, this is Cyrus Rogan Brocha, Pyar Se Rogues. I've come up with a brand new idea. It's a premium product called Club Cyrus Says. It's an offer open just for you. Let me tell you about the product. We've got exclusive Cock and Bull episodes just for you. That's right, just for you. That means others don't get to see it. Also, you get exclusive footage, extra bits, the uncut version of the interviews with celebrities. And these are huge celebrities, not small-time celebrities. Only the big guys come on the show. So you'll get the exclusive bits that nobody else gets. The extra tidbits, special stuff, uncensored stuff you don't want to put out. That's just for you. And for our audio listeners, you get special ad-free content and early access to interviews and sessions and podcasts which nobody else will get. You'll get it first. You're the first people. You're Neil Armstrong. You're Edmund Hillary. You're whoever discovered India. You're that. And by becoming an exclusive member of Club Cyrus Says, you get the power. We transfer the power to you and you become the producers and you will decide what content or what happens on that show. You are the masters and we can't use words like that. People who work for the masters, basically. So guys, get in. Special audio features include, I forget. I can't remember. What the hell?
And we're back on Has It Aged Well with Shreyas and Urjita. Inception came out in 2010. I will just give a brief synopsis because please do not ask me to explain this movie. It is about this guy called Dom Cobb, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, and he essentially invades people's dreams, their subconscious. In his team, he has an architect of the dream. He has someone who makes the chemicals that can put people to sleep for longer periods of time. He's literally taking contracts for extraction of memories rather than the inception of them. So the movie is essentially about this one case where he has to invade the thoughts of a guy called Fisher, and plant an idea in his subconscious rather than take an idea out. That comes with its own complications and things that are very dangerous, and that's what the film essentially explores. Fisher is played by Cillian Murphy, who is the central character in Oppenheimer. And guys, in this movie also, his name is Robert, which is also the name of Robert Oppenheimer. So I thought that's a little pretty cool coincidence. Um, I think one thing we have to say about Christopher Nolan is his characters explain things the best. Like, you don't feel like the film has
Yeah.
come to a standstill to explain things to you. I think Inception is the first 15 minutes of Inception are a great masterclass of how to just give the basics of a high concept idea. What do you guys think?
I also think Inception does the magic trick of giving you such stunning visuals. It's such a
Right.
spectacle that you don't mind the exposition in the
Yeah.
background, because
Yeah.
what you are sitting is the city of Paris converge in one, like two halves of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So of
Yeah.
course you are not gonna care if like there's like if Ellen Page's character is asking too many questions, is doing a lot of character exposition, is driving that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't care because like what you're seeing in front of you, you have never seen before in your
Seen before.
lives.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But over here, the exposition really matters, right? I feel like Inception में I for one was waiting for the exposition. It's like चार लोग आके मेरे को बताओ picture में क्या हो रहा है.
हाँ,
One
हाँ, हाँ.
person isn't enough. I need 4 people repeating the same thing.
And they do.
Where is Ekta Kapoor when you need her? Where is Ekta Kapoor exposition when you need it?
There's a line in the movie also, no, where Ellen Page's character says that whose subconscious are we in? So I think
Mhm.
Nolan also knows that like people are
People
going to be
will ask
confused, of
themselves
course.
that same question.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he wrote this over a long time, right? He
8 years.
apparently wrote the first idea at 16 years old. He wrote the first draft. Then 10 years later, he wrote one more draft. After which he pitched it to someone. Then he took 8 years. So that's like
Hmm.
Oh,
fucking.
okay.
That's more
A
than 2
long time.
decades.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
imagine
it's a
at the age
fishing
of
long time.
16. Like, imagine
16.
imagine at the age of 16, किसी ने बोला रहेगा कि you should follow your dreams and you're like, got it, brother,
यही
got
करना
it,
है, यही करना
already
है.
on it.
Right.
But the
Uh,
big struggle for him was in the last 10 years. What was lacking in the story was that first it was a heist film, but then I think he
Correct.
deemed that it was too superficial. That like it doesn't really allow you to go into the emotional complexities of a film. So he was looking for an emotional arc when the wife backstory, all of that was
Oh,
happening. That was
I
happening
have
in the
so
last
much.
8 years.
I have so much to say about the wife's character, because she essentially builds the emotional core of the film. Right. Every decision
Correct.
that Dom Cop takes in a
Is informed by that.
is informed by that. Every time the stakes are high and he has to take a decision, he makes it seem like he's taking the correct decision, but he's actually taking a decision which just brings him closer to his dead wife.
Correct.
That's what I noticed. But Shreyas, you mentioned heist film, and this is one of the big takeaways I have taken from Nolan films. He cloaks one genre of film under another genre. So Inception
Yeah.
might seem like a high concept science fiction film, but it's actually a heist film. Dark Knight
Correct.
is, yes, to say a superhero film, but it's actually at the core of it just balls out action film.
Right.
Dunkirk seems like a war film, but it's actually a thriller, because moment to moment you're just wondering what's going to happen to these characters.
Right.
And I think Tenet is a time travel film, but it's essentially a Bond movie where this protagonist
Correct.
is like a secret agent who has to
Correct.
carry out a mission. So that's a great thing that you pointed out. Do you guys know about the filmmaking theory of Inception?
No, please
So
enlighten.
there is
What's the
this
theory?
theory. There is this theory, and Nolan has kind of sort of alluded that he agrees to it, that the characters in Inception is actually what filmmakers are. So, for example, Leonardo DiCaprio, Dom Cobb, is the director. Arthur, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, is the producer. Ariadne, who is the architect of the dream, is the production designer. Ames, who is the other guy, is the actor. Sato, who gives them the contract, is the studio. And Fisher, in whose head they are planting the idea, is the audience.
Fuck.
Yes.
I mean, fish.
Oh,
Yes. So I think you just mentioned before the break, Shreyas, that Nolan has this idea about mysterious things. This is
Yeah.
a great example of a filmmaker trying to control things that are unexplainable, and which is why
Yeah.
he's literally put the positions of a film production as characters
Right.
trying to plant an idea into the audience and influence them.
Has he approved this? Like, has
So,
Nolan?
so someone brought this up in an interview, and he said, "Yes, you can very much read it that way." So he did not deny
Wow.
that this was his
But
idea.
you can very much read it that way is also the Nolan way to be like, it's up to you, because he never clarifies, right? Even the
I mean,
Inception ending, of course, you can't.
exactly, yeah. The film itself ends on such an open ending, which brings me to, like I said, that the conversation between about films among common people, I
Hmm.
think went up like 5-6 levels after Nolan started getting making these big films.
Hmm.
Uh, Inception trended on Twitter for 39 days back in 2010, which for that time was the longest any movie had trended on
Yeah.
Twitter. So for more than
Right.
a month, people were tweeting about this and talking about these films. The moment you come out of a Nolan film, you want to discuss with other people of what they thought. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Ask them what they thought, hear their thoughts, and then be like, all of that is wrong.
Yeah.
And that's usually the way to go for a Nolan
Yeah,
film.
I like to go check on Reddit what people from the other
Exactly.
side of the
Yes.
world are thinking, and then like I love it. I love the feeling when at 2 a.m. in the night you are going through some weird Reddit thread, and you find like one person who has exactly like used different words to express the same feeling that you were feeling, but you couldn't express it like in that way, and you're like, yeah,
Mhm.
yes, 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 Wanderlust or Sobo 101, yeah, agree. Yo, yo.
Yeah, I mean, Inception has so many fan theories about what is a
Hmm,
dream, what is not a dream, was the whole
hmm,
movie a dream, and all of that.
yeah.
Um, I want to come to the concept of time in all of Nolan's films. I have a
Hmm.
take here, guys. मतलब मैंने जब ये सोचा तो मैं like I blew my own mind. So are you guys ready for me to
Okay.
blow
You've
your
set up the
mind?
pressure high by saying that. I don't know why you do that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, so in all of Nolan's films, he is obsessed with time, correct? Yeah, you can put the
Hmm.
totem in the frame while I'm saying
That's
this,
what
okay?
we'll see.
All of his films are obsessed with time. In Inception, you have the concept of dream time and real time, that things that happen in dream time are different from how the way works in our world, right? In reality. He revisits the same thing in Interstellar, where they go on a planet where 7 minutes there is like 14 years here in
Hmm.
on Earth, right? You have that whole thing.
Right.
What if Oppenheimer is Nolan's way of saying that the atomic bombs probably took just a few seconds to explode, but we are still living in that time? Like everything after that time, we are stuck in that limbo.
Oh.
Shreyas is
Two
not
atom bombs,
impressed.
two atom bombs going. No, no, I agree. I agree with you.
Yeah.
That's a great reading of a film that we haven't
Right.
seen yet, but which we are all excited to see.
Yeah.
But I do see that as
My
a
my
possibility for
reading
sure.
of my reading of
Yeah.
Oppenheimer was that man realizes that his actions have consequences.
Yeah, very much. Which is another theme. I think guilt is also another theme that runs through a lot of Nolan films. In this movie, also, Cobb is guilty of something he did because of which his wife lost his life. Interstellar, Matthew McConaughey's character is guilty that he could not reconnect with his daughter, and
Hmm.
you straight up till Oppenheimer, where it literally plays in the promo as well, where
Hmm.
Robert Oppenheimer was not very proud of making the atomic bombs. So, watching history from the perspective of Nolan would be very interesting. What do you think, Shreyas?
Absolutely. Because I think like we experience time linearly, but time doesn't function linearly at all.
Correct.
Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
every moment is a culmination of other moments that have happened before our time. Like what is going to happen tomorrow will be decided by what we do today. So
Correct.
I think this narrative, and it's difficult to understand this concept when you're just living day to day, week to
Right.
week, year to year. But I think it's
Right.
movies like these that make you think about
Hmm.
these things, that make you think about time,
Hmm.
that make you think
Yeah.
about wherever you are, what is that a product of? What are all
Hmm.
the elements that have led up to you being there?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Urjita, what
I
is your
think
take on time?
so. My take on time, or my take on Nolan's perspective on time.
Nolan's perspective of time.
So, so I was thinking that like to explain Nolan's
Mhm.
filmmaking. If
Mhm.
anybody were to explain the concept of time travel,
Mhm.
then Nolan would be the one who would actually give you the proofs of why it actually makes sense.
Right.
How there is always this one guy who's like, this happened in 1946 and the same event happened in 1947. So connect the dots. So I feel Nolan
Right.
would be the one की बात सब लोग बैठ के सुनेंगे कि अच्छा okay. Like I feel he's very good at connecting the dots. At the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
core, I feel that is his main passion of just connecting the dots, and I think that should be like a challenge for him कि ये दो events है completely unrelated. अभी connect the dots. So I feel
Yeah.
he's really good at that.
I have one more theory.
Yeah.
Jonathan Nolan, who has made Westworld, which is a fucking amazing show, which is a
Mhm.
very good show. You should all watch it.
Yeah.
Why are both these brothers making films about time? I think it's because both of them were late a lot, and they just had to come up with
Mm.
excuses. And this just led to years and years of coming up with excuses till they are like, let's do this. Time goes, we go back in time.
Yeah,
There are 4 layers
yeah. I
of
think
time.
like
This
honey,
world, there are
no,
four
I'm not
timelines happening.
like
What,
honey,
what?
no. I could be late for our honey, no. I could be late for our marriage, but in this realm, but in 7 other realms, I make it in time. You don't know
Yeah.
that. In fact, you were
Exactly.
late in the other 4 realms. Remember? Yeah, yeah. Why do you think you are sweating? Because you were running in the other realm. Because you missed the
Mm.
bus, honey. Why would you do that with me? I think they would be.
That was a depiction of Christopher Nolan's domestic life by Urjita, who's an insider.
But I was reading this tweet about how all Nolan, his biggest fear is losing his wife and his kids. So at the
Right,
bottom of
right.
all his fears is that he loves his family and he's scared
Yeah,
of his family going away, which is sweet, which
That's
is
true.
great,
yeah,
and also everyone's anxiety, which
Even
helps.
in
yeah.
even in this film,
It's either your
Fisher has
parents or your partner. It's either of them.
in this film you see both of those because Killian Murphy's character Fisher is not on good terms with his father in this film, and there's this whole thing where he said the last thing he said to me was disappointed. Then we revisit the same theme in Interstellar. Like I said, Matthew McConaughey leaves his daughter, and actually even in Inception, Cobb's whole thing is he wants to go back to his kids, right?
Hmm.
So I think it also has to do with Nolan's guilt about being away from his family while making movies. So it's like, damn it. But
I'll
yeah, I
It's
explain.
like
Just
my
watch the movie.
birthday party
Everything will
नहीं
be
आ पाऊंगा.
clear.
It's like my birthday party में नहीं आ पाऊंगा. Sorry, but hey, I will make a movie. In which I'll
yeah.
make you realize that I feel really sorry about not being able. Sounds like something I will also do. So I think yeah.
You know what
Shreyas
this
also
And
means,
he's
advised
like,
right?
me
you'll
that.
you'll you'll watch. I know I'm late, but you'll watch this movie 18 years from now because I just started working on it. But wait for it. It'll explain everything. Then you'll know. Then you'll
Yeah,
forgive me.
yeah.
I want to talk about the performances in the movie. Shreyas, who for you stood out? And is there a particular sequence that you were really blown away by in Inception?
Uh, Gravity really stood out. The absence of it in a lot of the scenes. That was a lot of fun. And the cast, I think it was. I mean, stellar. Ellen Page, amazing. Killian Murphy, amazing. Leo, of course. I mean, he is.
Yeah,
Uh,
Leo. Leo was the first guy he approached for the role. He wrote the role with Leo in mind, and Leo agreed to do the film. So yeah, there
Yeah.
was no other
wow.
option for that
I'd
that
love
role.
to hear that pitch meeting. Like, how do you pitch Inception in
I'll tell you,
in
I'll tell
like
you,
in
Leo को
minutes?
क्या brief दिया रहेगा. So, it will almost feel like you are in a sinking ship, but this time you will be able to save it.
Hey, what if the sinking ship was just a dream, huh? Wouldn't you like that? It's like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But we kept seeing Dark Knight symbols in old Nolan's work without him even knowing. So do you think there are clues for Oppenheimer in Inception? Like, are there any Oppenheimer?
There is a scene in Tenet where Dimple Kapadia's character has a monologue explaining to John David Washington's character about the Manhattan Project, and she mentions Oppenheimer and the repercussions that the atomic bomb had. So yeah, I mean that is very clearly something
Fuck,
that's been on Nolan's mind.
Akshay Kumar is the villain of this film. That's what you are telling me. You're gonna watch that in IMAX 2D.
I'm not going to comment on that, but yeah, Dimple Kapadia got the big monologue about Oppenheimer, which eventually became a movie. So yeah,
Also, Bhagavad Gita is gonna become cool again, huh?
cool again. So
It's gonna become.
Cillian Murphy in an interview said that he did read the Bhagavad Gita for the role. This is also one thing that Nolan's actors do, that they even Leonardo DiCaprio in this one, I think for about 2 or 3 months he just sat on the script with Nolan to flesh out the
Because
details
you
of his
couldn't
character.
understand it.
Yeah, and that too. And Cillian Murphy, yeah, I think there's that famous line which Oppenheimer said in an interview: "I am now become death." There is an Indian connection there. Urjita, for you, who did you like in this movie, and what stood out for you?
So I really liked Leonardo DiCaprio, and also I don't know her character's name, but his wife Mal.
Marion Cotillard, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
very
Her
good.
dude, she's
acting
such
was
a
just
she was so haunting. Like you could totally get why Cobb would do these things to get back to
She was
her.
haunting, but also you're like, okay, you can kill me. It's fine. It's fine. You can just shoot me. Which is, I mean, a success
yeah,
as an actress.
yeah,
You know, the most scariest thing about the film was that it's established that if you die in a dream, you wake up. And then when they actually go for the Inception mission, they say, no, actually in this case, because we are on sedatives, if
Right.
you die, you'll actually go into a limbo. So this film actually says death is the least of your problems, right? You might just go into a
Right.
coma like limbo. And there is also
Correct.
that line where in the beginning where uh, before shooting Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he says, "If I kill you, you'll wake up, but pain is in the mind. So I'm gonna
Correct.
make you torture." So yeah. Did you guys ever like start doing like? I remember after watching this film, I started keeping a dream journal where I would wake up
Oh,
and
wow.
and I would actually note down the dream I had. And I also tried
That's,
lucid dreaming. Do you guys know what lucid dreaming is?
yes.
Would you
Yes.
like to explain, Shreyas?
Lucid dreaming is basically manipulating your mind into being in a state of consciousness, but in a
Mhm.
subconscious way while you're in a dream.
Yes. Yeah.
Where you
Yeah.
are in a dream, but not conscious enough to be awake from the dream, but conscious enough to know that you're in the dream. And what you can do with lucid dreaming is you can do whatever. It's just a
Whatever.
whiteboard
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
where
You're
you are just a
aware,
magician. You can do everything.
which is what Ariadne does in this. She's aware that she's in a dream and she makes the whole city fold on itself. So
Right.
it did work for me, guys. Did it work for any of you?
I tried a lot. I even got like this herbal tea from some hipster store in Brooklyn because I was really into lucid dreaming for a few months. I think
Okay.
you just need like mental
Sure,
meditation concentration.
sure, Shreyas. Let's go with herbal tea.
It was, I swear. I know how it sounds like.
so I was saying that so even so tell me if this made sense to you, but when in her dream the buildings folded onto each other, I just
Mhm.
noticed that fuck they fit perfectly.
Yeah.
And then I looked out and I realized that many of our buildings, at least the old buildings, as in Victorian era ke buildings, they were constructed in such a way that they would fit onto each other like Lego pieces. So, do you think that means anything?
What? That's real? Like buildings actually would fit in if they fold?
I mean, in
If
the
if there's any
movie, they did.
architect watching this, we apologize. No, but see, considering the level of research that Nolan does on his movies, I'm sure he must have taken. I think are they in Italy at that point? It's supposed to be. I think it's supposed
Yeah. They are.
Prague or just correct
Paris,
us in the
Paris,
comments. Paris,
Paris.
Paris. I think, yeah. So I think maybe he must have looked at the city layout, and then imagined what it would look like onto itself. But
Hmm.
maybe, yeah, I don't know. I mean, older architects, in my opinion, were way more advanced than the ones we have now. Okay, at this point, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk a little more about Inception and why exactly does a Christopher Nolan film excite us so much. Please remember, Oppenheimer opens July 21st on Friday by Universal Pictures. So please book your tickets now. We'll see you right after this.
Hey, it's been another great week on the IBM Podcast Network. On The Habit Coach, Ashton Doctor delves into the concept of meditation munching and its advantages, and also talks about various techniques to engage in the practice of meditation munching. Check it out. On Paisa Vaisa, Anupam is joined by Sahil Bhargav of Bharosa Club. They share practical tips to navigate the world of investments with the right approach and offers expert investment advice for all listeners. Folks, if you like our shows, spread the word. Tell your friends and don't forget to rate and review them wherever you're listening to them. Follow us on social media. We are IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn. You'll also find all our shows on youtube.com/IVM Podcasts. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors this week, SBI Life. Thank you for making this possible.
And we're back on Has It Aged Well with Shreyas and Urjita. So guys, Urjita, you wanted to talk about the ending of the film. I think it's one of the most debated endings of all time. We see a totem, which is supposed to tell you if it's a dream or reality. In Cobb's case, it's a spin top, and if the spin top, like Shreyas is showing right now on screen, if it stops spinning and falls down, that means it's reality. If it doesn't, that means you're still in a dream. And very famously, the last shot of the film shows the top spinning, and just when we feel it's about to stop, or we feel it's just going to go on rolling, it cuts to black and it says directed by Christopher Nolan. So what did you make of that, Urjita? And like, what a ballsy ending, right? Like, ye itna sab kuch aapko pata hai, but still he keeps you at the edge of your seat with the ending.
So technically, like by the rules, if we go, then it is supposed to be a dream because the top is still spinning. But then just because of the way things ended, it feels like no, it is the reality. So it's like your mind wants to believe that this is the reality, but it is actually the dream, which is also the conundrum and the dilemma that Leo was going through and his wife. So I feel like that is the emotion that Christopher Nolan wants to leave us with. That is it a dream? Is it a reality? Like you badly want it to be a reality, but you know for a fact that it is a dream. So I think he wanted us to experience.
I don't think you know for a fact that it's a dream. That is the question, right? Like I believe it was reality. I believe after we cut to black, it stopped spinning and he was happy with his children. Shreyas, what do you think?
It's the thing is we can never know. Like echoing Urjita's sentiments, the same problem that afflicted Leo and his wife, where they don't know what's fake, what's real. Like with the wife, first it happens, then Leo, in order to solve it, makes it worse, where she doesn't think that her reality is her own reality, wants to kill herself. So I think that problem, that confusion, it just perfectly brings that out. And the fact that we're still talking about it 12 years later, if it's real or fake, like we are afflicted with the same disease that Leo's wife had.
True.
And to be very honest, I think that once we cut to the black, Rani Mukherjee and Amitabh Bachchan should show up.
Wow. Keep that for the alternate ending segment. Okay, here's an interesting fact. In Japan, when the film released, they actually, like a video game, on the top right-hand corner, they actually had a ticker or rather a graphic telling you which level of the dream this scene is taking place in.
Wow.
Yes. I don't know why it was only in Japan, but that's how they screened the movie.
Whose decision was this? Was this Nolan's decision or like a Japanese censor board?
I think it was either whoever the Japanese distributors were. And I don't know if it got a go ahead from Nolan or not, but that's how it was screened in Japan.
Wow.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to add about Inception, guys, before we go to the Has It Aged Well scale?
That you don't need the same feature here, because here you have your annoying friend next to you who's like, bro, they are in your second dream, they're in the third dream. So we don't need that here. We can trust our friends.
Yeah.
Sorry, Urjita, what are you saying?
And also, like, I feel something like this can never happen in India because hum neend mein hote hai, to we get kicked by our moms or our maids anyway. Keh rahe didi fan band karna hai. तो dream पूरा time dream में रह ही नहीं सकते हम. But I wanted to draw parallel between. Sorry.
No, I'm saying they speak about the musical kick in this movie. For us, it's a literal kick by our parents.
Yeah.
All right. I think we've spoken a lot about Inception. Let's go to the Has It Aged Well scale, guys, which is from 1 to 10. 1 being it's not aged well at all, and it is a product of its time. 10 being, oh my God, I find something new every time I watch it. So on a Has It Aged Well scale of 1 to 10, Shreyas, what score would you give to Inception?
I think 11. I think it has changed the way we think of age and time. Like when we talk about has it aged well, we don't know what timeline we are in yet. So they have just broken the rules. They have broken the format of this podcast, which is amazing.
That's true. That's true. Urjita, for you?
Yeah. I feel like I am a few light years away from completely understanding what the movie is about. And
Okay.
here goes an interstellar, what do you call it? An interstellar reference in the Inception review scale. I just
Okay.
wanted to add that. Just to, yeah. Okay, what
But
do you
what
think?
is
I
your
don't watch
score?
Christopher Nolan movies. I do. I watch all of them. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, but my score, I feel I would give it an 8.
8. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, Inception is actually my favorite Christopher Nolan movie of all time. I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet. So, as of now, 16th of July, on
Hmm.
Sunday, it's my favorite Nolan film. And it's, I think, one of my favorite films of all time. So, I would give it a solid 9.5 out of 10. I'm keeping 0.5 aside. So, what if Oppenheimer is better, guys? What if Oppenheimer is better? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Way to make me
Okay.
look bad, Abbas. Wait.
Okay, before we go to the alternate ending segment, I have to ask you guys, what are your expectations from Oppenheimer? It has been emphasized that this was shot in IMAX, the first time a black and white IMAX screen was used, or rather, technique was used. Shreyas, what are you expecting from the movie? What is your excitement like? Just 2 words about it.
Just pumped beyond belief. All the shows are full for the weekend.
Yeah,
So there are no tickets
yeah.
till like Wednesday, Thursday.
You cannot make an excuse that show nahi mila because there's a 3:30 a.m. show at Phoenix Lower Parel for the movie.
That's also sold out.
I think pretty much yes.
Wow.
Again, Nolan
Wow.
messing with time.
Time yes.
yeah. But like AM PM पता नहीं कुछ भी हो सकता है इस case में PM कर
बोले
देगा.
अरे ड्रीम देखना है क्यों है 3:30 बजे आओ मेरा पिक्चर देखो मैं तुमको दिखाऊंगा वही जो तुम ड्रीम में देखोगे.
Urjita, what are you looking forward to in Oppenheimer?
I think Oppenheimer would be a culmination of all our what ifs. Like, what if this could happen in a Nolan movie? What if this could happen in a setting like this? Yeah, I think that's what I'm looking forward to. Like, what? Because the
Okay.
thing is, because so many expectations have been raised. Because I don't think, like in terms of marketing strategy, other movies go all out. Okay, they do interviews, movie promotions. Just
Yeah.
going all out. But Oppenheimer is just releasing pictures. Pictures of Cillian Murphy looking serious in different
Yeah.
poses. It's very mysterious, and I'm really looking forward to Oppenheimer.
Cool. I'll just like to brush off the amazing cast that they have. There's Cillian Murphy who plays Oppenheimer. There's also Emily Blunt in the movie. Matt Damon who portrays General Leslie Groves Jr., who was the director of the Manhattan Project. Robert Downey Jr. is in the movie. Florence Pugh, who was in some other recent very very impressive movies, she's in the film. There's Benny Safdie in the movie. There is Dan DeHaan, who's also been in a lot of successful movies. He's in this. Josh Hartnett. So the cast is stacked just like Inception. And I, for one, like I said, I would love to see history from Nolan's perspective of time and the repercussions of time. That's what I'm really, really, really looking forward to. All right, so now let's do the alternate ending segment. All right, so alternate endings, as the name suggests, is where we think of an ending other than the way the movie ended. This movie has one of the most famous endings of all time. But Shreyas, if you had to think, if Christopher Nolan came to you and was like, "Hey, I'm reissuing Inception for 2023 release, and I want you to write a new ending than the way it ended,"
Yeah.
what would you tell?
I think the
Shreyas-
ending is
Shreyas
that
would ask for an advance. That's the first thing you would do.
for sure.
Sign an NDA.
One popular theory is that the character Michael Caine plays, this is actually a dream construed by him to give closure to Leo's character, to Cobb. My version is that this was actually an idea of Amir Khan. And Inception is a copy of an Amir Khan idea, and now they are one all. Okay, Gajni was copied from Memento, and Inception will be copied from whatever will be Amir Khan's next.
But about Michael Caine, so
It
you mean to say
actually,
the
no, but
last?
honestly, it makes sense because remember Amir Khan's song in Tare Zameen Par, देखो देखो क्या वो पेड़ है चादर ओढ़े या खड़ा कोई. He's playing with your imagination even in that song, so it makes
Amazing.
sense. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
But I was saying Michael Caine, if this was all his idea, you're saying the last shot should have been them sitting in a cafe and Michael Caine sees Leonardo and he
Yes.
raises a cup and he's like, oh, yeah, nice. Yeah. Well, he did use that ending in another movie, which Urjita
Yeah.
saw, called The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah. I've
Uh,
never been so happy. Yeah, I got this reference. Yeah. Yeah.
Urjita, do you have an alternate ending or a sequel idea?
So alternate ending. I was actually thinking that what if it is what if in the end we realize that so when Leonardo he walks through the door and we see the totem spinning, and then
Mhm.
out of nowhere we see a very nice manicured hand with nail polish just coming and grabbing the totem, and then we cut to the face and it's actually his wife.
Oh, okay.
So then that's the twist, that it was her who was playing with his dreams all along. Like,
Mm.
and she was never dead. But in fact, he is the one who is stuck in the dreams. So that could be something.
Mm.
Yeah.
My alternate ending is, yeah, my ending is very straightforward. I can't bear to think that he's still in a dream. So my alternate ending is still just that it cuts to black, but then it comes back again, and the top stops spinning, and then we see like he's living a happy life, guys. He's given up his
Hmm.
job as a dream invader, and he just what if Dom Cop shows up in Oppenheimer? He's like, hey, this bomb that you're building, I dreamt about it. You shouldn't be doing this. I see the future
Possible.
like Urjita does. Okay, cool. That was our episode on Inception. Please go out and watch Oppenheimer on July 21st, which is this Friday.
Yes.
Also, we're recording on a Sunday, which is 16th July. You'll probably be hearing this or watching this on a Tuesday. Do you guys know all these films are back in theaters this week as a build up to Oppenheimer? They've re-released Christopher Nolan films in theaters. So I'm going to go watch The Dark Knight on Thursday. Please check your local
Yeah.
listings. You can find shows for Inception, Interstellar, Dunkirk. All of these films are back in
Oh,
theaters for a week. So if you're a Christopher Nolan fan and you've never seen any of his films on the big screen, this is a great chance to do that. Thank you to Universal Pictures for giving us this amazing, cool merch and allowing us to talk about Oppenheimer. Before we wrap up, Shreyas, anything you want to plug? Where can people find you on social media? Please go ahead.
Shreyas _Manohar on Instagram, and my Finsta is at Christopher Nolan. Check it out. We are the same person.
Are you on Threads yet?
I am on Threads. Yeah,
Okay.
sure. If you want to see what I'm not posting on Threads, follow me on Threads as well.
Okay. Anything you want to plug, Urjita?
You guys can subscribe to my YouTube channel at the rate Urjita Vani full stop, and you can also follow me on Instagram at the rate Urjita Vani, and yeah, that's it. Thank you so much.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Abbas Momin and Instagram at Abbas Momin88. Very quickly, we'd also like to give out the Universal Pictures social media handles. They're on Facebook, Instagram as Universal Pictures. You can find them on Twitter as Universal IND. And the YouTube channel is also called Universal Pictures India. So check that out. You will find all the latest Oppenheimer stuff over there. Thank you so much for listening to us for this special episode of Has It Aged Well? We'll see you next on Monday with a new movie and a new panelist. Till then, bye bye.
IVM.